Raptors and Talons, this is Internet Personality Vangelus, and this is a Marvel Legends Master of the Mind! Guys, they finally made a 6-inch Darkhawk. I have a hugely nostalgia-driven love of Darkhawk. I really hated the 4-inch Darkhawk that came out some years ago. I wanted this release to go well when I first heard about it. Anyway, he's in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 wave, meaning he comes with a Titus Build-A-Figure piece. It's also his only actual accessory. This is some kind of well-painted albino Kilrathi head. I thought the jaw could move, but it can't. It's just rubbery plastic. And the neck socket is too small to fit onto a Mythic Legion's body. All my plans have fallen apart. Darn it. What with it being a nostalgia-driven love, my actual Darkhawk expertise is dread-tier embarrassing. But this certainly looks like Darkhawk. I've come to understand that he's mostly new tooling from the waist up, which is really darn cool. Things like the shoulder pads and gauntlets feel good to me. And even though this is kind of a modern cosmic Darkhawk, he still has a lot of the major tenets that make me know who this is. The body's primarily a really cool metallic shade of onyx blue, which makes the silver parts pop in a lovely way. The crystalline visor are fairly flat red though, and I could have done with something more glossy or shiny. Speaking of visors, the helmet sculpt is probably my favorite part of this figure. The angles and curves are all wonderful to look at from a variety of angles, and I love the fact that it's assembled out of at least 2 differently colored pieces of plastic. Visually, my biggest complaint is that the wings and grapple claw are made from a fairly warpable soft plastic. This copy of the figure looks like he got a little manhandled by his own packaging. I know heat treatment can fix this kind of thing, but there's so much of it I don't really want to bother. I could spend ages tweaking every feather of every wing tip on Darkhawk, or I could go play Hitman. Listen, I know my priorities, alright? Darkhawk can turn his head left and right. He's got a dedicated hinge to look up and down with a little bit of detent to it. There's a good range on here. I like it a whole lot. There's a ball socket connection as well, so there's a touch of tilt. So it's a really good set of neck posability to go with this really cool helmet design. This guy's got a little bit of fig arts in him is what I'm going to call it, where his shoulder pads can hinge out a little bit to get out of the way of his articulation. I like that a lot, because his arms can go outwards super happily, and with these wings, you know, this is the kind of thing you want. They're on your usual Marvel Legends Universal style pin disc joints, and there's a bicep swivel, and there's a double jointed elbow, and this is the part I don't like. I hate that this wing splits like this. I don't have a solution for this. I just really hate how this looks. There's also a wrist joint, which can swivel and hinge in a somewhat useless way. The arm articulation on this guy is fine, but the wings, I don't like this stuff. There's something about these wings that just seems sloppy. I think it's just the fact that you can't remove them and make them work with poses where maybe he doesn't have them deployed. I wish these were removable. There is an ab crunch, which is kind of clickety. There's a dedicated waist swivel. From the waist down, this guy's he's a Marvel, in general actually, he's just a Marvel Legends toy. He's got no Van Damme ability to be proud of. That's how far out they can go, but he can kick all the way forward. He's got a sculpt-destroying thigh swivel. Like, that's rude right there. He's got double-jointed knees, which work real darn well. He's got another sculpt-destroying boot cut. Gross. He's got hinged ankles for forwards and backwards action, and some tiltability on a peg, so that if you use that boot cut, you can keep the feet pointed where you want while you're swiveling the ankles for tiltage. He's a decently poseable toy like any Marvel Legends figure would be. Man. I'm happy to say that this feels like a much better figure than the 4-inch scale Darkhawk of years past. I'm sad to say that this still doesn't feel like the Darkhawk figure I have dreamed of, and I'm guilt-ridden because a cursory glance over the feedback from folks who actually collect Marvel Legends on a serious level tells me that this is a fairly beloved release in that context. It's the wings, man. They look great in a couple of poses, but I hate the way they split apart when the elbow bends, and keep pointing forward when the arms are raised. If they were removable, I think I'd have a much different opinion on this figure, especially with all the other fresh tooling. And I certainly prefer a permanently winged Darkhawk to a permanently wingless Darkhawk. I don't know, man. Maybe my personal Darkhawk needs just aren't something a Hasbro line can fulfill. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and the true heroes are those of you who actually know what a Kilrathi is without looking it up. Hey, you in the back! I see you looking it up!